Yo, what's going on, people? And today they've announced the upcoming buffs and nerfs to the operators in the game. As you know, the mid-season reinforcement patches have been cancelled, so they're gonna add these changes either at the end or the beginning of the new season, I think. So, first of all, we can see the this chart. This is what they use to balance the operators. You have the attackers and defenders here. And this is the pick rate versus how much they win. Now you see that point where those two lines meet. There's a radius around that which they like to call the sweet spot, and they like to keep operators around that area. I'll see if I can find the picture from the R6 Invitational that they use. So any operator that's too far outside of that radius is, they're most likely in for either a buff or a nerf, depending on which side of the circle they are. So for the attackers here, we can see Lion, Twitch, Hibana, and Astray the furthest away from everyone else. So these are kind of the strongest ops at the moment, and as you know, Lion is going to be nerfed. We could only assume that those other three operators are going to be nerfed in some way. And if you look at the defender chart here, the defenders that stray the furthest away from the circle would be Vigil, Jaeger, and Bandit. And because of this, well, these are the upcoming changes to these operators. So let's hop right into the changes. So Lion is going to be nerfed. First of all, here's what's going to be changing: the scan outline. It says here, if you're detected by Lion's scan, it will stop displaying your outline as long as you are not moving. And this has two main consequences. If detected and a player stops moving, the outline will no longer appear. Attackers may know where you are, but they won't be able to see you when you change your stance. And the second one is, if you're detected very briefly, it's going to be more difficult for attackers to tell where you are because the outline disappears as soon as you stop moving. So basically, the changes that they made in the TTS are going to be coming to the game. And like I said, I like those changes. So if you didn't see that video, then you can check that card up top there. And the cooldown and scan charges are also going to be getting nerfed. They're going to be reducing the number of charges from 3 to 2 and increasing the cooldown between each charge from 10 seconds to 20 seconds. So, you're going to have to make better decisions on when exactly you want to scan. So yeah, basically all the Lion changes from the TTS are coming to the full game. Next up is going to be Jaeger. Jaeger's ADSs will no longer destroy Hibana's X-Kairos pellets. We've disabled that interaction so that she cannot deny Jaeger's ADS system so efficiently. A single shot from the X-Kairos launcher is able to deplete the charges from multiple ADSs without the large utility cost for the attacking team. This contributes to Hibana's overall utility, and this increases her pick rate. Removing this interaction will drive teams to utilize more of their utility in order to maneuver around Jaeger's ADS systems. So if you didn't know this was a thing, I didn't either. I only realized this when I started watching the Pro League. If there are a bunch of ADS systems in the room, all Hibana has to do is send out one shot from her X-Kairos, and because the ADS is only let out like let's say 2 rockets and there's 6 pellets, one shot would eliminate pretty much all of the ADS devices in the room, and yeah, leaving all of them useless. So they're now turning that off. The devices will no longer pick up her X-Kairos pellets. Next up is going to be Blitz. We're looking for ways to make Blitz fun to play without making him frustrating to play against. As such, Blitz shield flash range is being reduced from 8 meters to 5 meters. He will also have fewer charges from 5 to 4. The Year 3 Season 1 Blitz change has brought his pick rate closer to the average, but his win delta remains too high. Reducing his flashing power is a first step in that direction. We're looking into ways to give defenders more options to counter him at melee range, but that will take more time. And to be completely honest, this is why I said they should have left Blitz where he was, but everyone was screaming, no, hashtag buff Blitz. I was at one point, but Ashley got at him and was like, you know what, he doesn't need buffing. But yeah, this is what happened. So they buffed him, he's too overpowered, everyone hates him now, and they're ending up nerfing him worse than where he originally was. So yeah, they should have left him where he was without the speed boost. Next up is Vigil. To be honest, I saw this one coming. We are altering how players use the electronic rendering cloak. It will now deplete its charge in 12 seconds as opposed to 30 seconds. It will now refill in half the time from 12 seconds to 6 seconds. Following the nerf to Ella, Vigil has risen to the top of the pack and become one of the strongest roamers in the game. This change will challenge Vigil players' resources management. and require more skillful use to remain effective. We plan to keep an eye on his loadout, weapons in particular, moving forward. So I've noticed a lot of people started playing Vigil more often after Ela got nerfed, myself included. Turns out he's actually even better Roman than Ela. But yeah, so I wouldn't really call this much of a big nerf. Instead of using his cloaking device for much longer, instead you just have to use it in multiple short bursts now, because it runs out in 12 seconds and fills back up in 6. So this is a pretty okay nerf, but as I said here at the bottom, they're going to keep an eye on his weapons in particular moving forward, meaning if his pick rate and his win rate continue to be too high, then they're going to look at nerfing his weapons, which is what I have a problem with, because his weapons they're not OP, but they're okay. So I think a nerf to his weapons would definitely drop his pick rate. But moving on, next up is going to be Hibana. Now the video is going on a bit longer than I would have expected, so I'm just going to be reading the operator changes now instead of everything that they have written down. So for the changes coming to Hibana, she will be losing her Claymore and receiving a breach charge instead. They say Thermite will only be the only hard breacher with a Claymore now, and they expect this swap to rebalance between the pick rate between Thermite and Hibana, and they're going to monitor this change. But if her pick rate continues to be too high, then they will, probably nerf her again. And Ying is actually going to be losing her smoke grenades, and they're going to be giving her a Claymore instead. She's currently too strong and in highly organized groups, which I agree with. But yeah, that's going to be it for Ying. LMG damage is also going to be buffed. This is probably the biggest buff of this patch so far. Globally, LMGs are too weak right now. We made a pass on their damage to normalize it against their generally low rate of fire. We will also review their recoil once we have implemented the new recoil system. So the LMGs that are going to be buffed are going to be the LMGE, that's for Zofia, the T95, that's for Ying, the M249 for Capitao, and the 6P41 for the Russians. And for the current status, there is Finka. Our data indicates that Finka's win rate is too high right now. We want to take some time to investigate why that is before making any changes. Our focus will be to study the effects of her recoil reduction, speed boost through barbed wire, and health boost. For the speed and health boost, we will need more data to ensure that we're making the right adjustments. For recoil, we do not want to change it before the implementation of the new recoil system. Doing so would result in clouded data and feedback. And for Ela is currently in a much better place. The data indicates that she has an acceptable pick and win rate. We do not foresee any more changes being necessary in the short term, but we will keep an eye on her. And that's about it for the major changes. All the rest are just discussing the meta and other stuff like that. So if you want to read the rest for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description box down below so you can read the article for yourself. And there's currently an AMA going on Reddit. I'll also leave a link in the description for that too. So what are your thoughts for these changes? You can leave them down in the comment section down below. If you found this video helpful, you can leave a like and share it around, and subscribe for more Rainbow Six Siege content. I'll be bringing out another videos after this with my thoughts, because this one went on a bit too long. So you'll see the card for that in the top right over there. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching.